actually vote like this. Because when you look at even the posters that have been made by the Electoral Commission of Zambia, I've not come across any poster showing a tick in terms of how you should vote. Even the adverts that you run here on KBN from ECZ, I've not come across anything like that. So it simply means that in the minds of the people, they know that if I want to vote, I should put a cross and not a tick, as it is being suggested by Mr. Brian Kasaro. Lastly, as I wind up on my submission, I want to remind our viewers. Remember, there was an issue of saying the same Electoral Commission of Zambia came up to say no, the kendo symbol that is being used by other independent members of parliament. The Electoral Commission of Zambia are the ones who came up to say we want to remove this, despite them providing this option to say you can choose from this. Then they didn't tell the nation as who complained, if you recall. They didn't tell the nation as who complained. But from my analysis, tying the dots, I just figured out that actually it may have been President Hakainde Hichilema who told the Electoral Commission of Zambia to say, I'm not pleased with this. Because remember when he went to Mazabuka, I hope if you can have a video to show our viewers, when he went to Mazabuka, he spoke against the use of a kendo when he was condemning Gary Nkombo for using that symbol, which is almost like a similar symbol to the lamp being used by the NRP UP presidential candidate, Mr. Brian Mundubile. So you can clearly say, but so it's a president who complained. Then when the president complained, the Electoral Commission of Zambia took a step to say we should remove the kendo from the ballot. But when this matter was taken to court, the Electoral Commission of Zambia was found wanting. They lost that interpretation, and this is how come today we have the kendo appearing on the ballot papers for some of the independent members of parliament. So even this tick that the Electoral Commission of Zambia are advancing that voters, the 8.7 voters can use, we can liken it to the quenu that the UPND has been using. From all the political parties that we know that are participating in this election, it is only the UPND that are using some of the slogans they have is the Kwenyu Sotsana. So when you look at Kwenyu in Tonga, but when you translate it into English, it means a tick. I've given you a tick because you have done this job. You have done it correctly. So the Electoral Commission of Zambia, they are putting themselves in an awkward position because now people are beginning to say, I think the Electoral Commission of Zambia are not independent as they claim. Maybe someone is advancing them to say, actually, you know what? Let the voters also use a tick. Because me, when I've been campaigning, I've been telling my people, Kwenyu Sotsana. So all those speculations need to, the Electoral Commission of Zambia, they don't need to put themselves in an awkward position because we are going to confuse everybody.
All right. So before I bring in Charity Mtonga, let us have a video of the ECZ CEO, Mr. Brian Kasaro, and listen to what is talked about.
The Commission has announced that seats reserved for persons with disabilities will attract a higher premium in the allocation of proportional representation seats.
The distribution of proportional representation seats will be done after the election results. The seat for persons with disability will be higher in terms of premium than for a seat with women and youth.
On delimitation, ECZ Chief Electoral Officer Brian Kasaro says no case was filed before the court regarding the outcome of the 2026 delimitation of constituencies.
The law provides that if any citizen is unsatisfied with the outcome of delimitation, they may take the matter to court. But in this particular instance, there was no case before the court in terms of the outcome of the 2026 delimitation of constituencies.
Jesse Kalambo, KBN TV News in Lusaka.
At a low level, it's being done.
All right, so Charity Mtonga, I'll come to you. When you listen to the Chief Executive Officer, Mr. Brown Kasaro, talking about or giving we the electorate two options, an X, but you can also go with a tick in that regards. Mike, I think when I was listening to him, I picked something very fundamental point to him where he talks about the timing. You are remaining with 5 days and you keep on introducing new rules. How much sensitization has been made to my grandmother in Kwamgubudu? How much sensitization has been made to my grandfather in Wengwa, as it were? Because all along, all we knew and all we know is that only an X is applicable when it comes to a general election. What is the issue here?
You see, I listened to my colleague, Mr. Schula, mentioning the fact that the ECZ is putting themselves in a very tight corner, but they're also making it very uncomfortable for us, even as analysts, on this issue, because in as much as we want to side or maybe be sympathetic with them, it's very difficult. I say so because ECZ is seemingly delving deep into the Electoral Act, the Constitution, and all to look for grey areas on how they can qualify the use of the tick. The inconsistencies must not be allowed to justify a wrong. Yes, we know that it says that there is a provision that speaks directly to the fact that we use a tick. But there's also a grey area that says a voter will indicate their preferred candidate in a way that, without using the exact words, in a way that is very clear. Like you can tick, you can mark a line and whatever, as long as you indicate in no way that it does not become questionable.
Correct.
But you see, since time immemorial, we use the tick. ECZ adverts, like Mr. Schula said earlier.
We use an X.
The X. The X.
Thank you.
We have always been using an X. This is the same ECZ that has been holding even by-elections for the last 4 or 5 years now. Even with the changes that they want to advance today, it's never been a critical matter, because voting, what is very important is you want to make sure that you amass as many numbers as possible without recording spoiled ballots.
Correct.
Candidates out there were actually educating the electorate out there to say, when you get into the booth, you find your preferred candidate, you mark it with the X. Okay? And then today, just 4 days before the election, you come and introduce new ways which are validly considered to be an okay ballot. You are tolerating the rumors that are speculating to say, no, probably they have pre-marked ballots that have got ticks. How do you defend the ECZ in such a matter? It becomes very difficult even for me to say, no, the Constitution allows them to. But where were they all this while for them to make a last-minute change? So, in as much as you may find a grey area, it is always right to make sure that these institutions remain trusted. The people already have got a lot of question marks about this ECZ. Are they able to give us a free, fair, and credible election? And then you go ahead and do this. It is very unfortunate.
Very unfortunate indeed. Pike, the commission is supposed to be working hand in hand with the political players themselves. And if they are going to effect a change, the ambassadors should be the political players. You know, so the question is, if you come on a last minute and begin to introduce new rules, at what point did you conduct consultation with the stakeholders? I'm talking about the political players who are supposed to be sending your messages to the electorate as they are going to campaign.
IP, this puts the Electoral Commission of Zambia in a very difficult and precarious situation. But they can take themselves out if they choose to. The issue is this. Let's start with the legal reforms that just happened before elections.
Correct.
We had the Electoral Process Act.
Yes.
That was amended.
Yeah.
If the ECZ wanted to amend the law to the extent that Zambians can now use either X or tick, they could have proposed that amendment, but they didn't. If they thought it was very critical, that was the right time for them to make that correction.
Decision. Yeah.
Okay? Because you cannot leave things to speculation. And I have seen people who have gone to the extent of writing deep essays, long essays, to try and justify this. Some things you cannot justify. And I'm looking at two pieces of, rules and regulations. First of all, let me start with the Electoral Process Act number 2016, section 6. It reads, a voter shall, once the voter has received a ballot paper marked under subsection 5C, A, enter an empty voting apartment, or compartment rather. Then B, mark the ballot paper in a way that indicates the candidate the voter wishes to vote for. This is what they are relying on for a tick. It
Yes.
doesn't say use a tick.
No.
It says to mark the ballot, indicating the candidate who the voter wishes to vote for. I pack that. Then let me take you to this. This is statutory instrument of 2026. Okay. That is 33D, and it reads: the voter shall, on receiving the ballot paper, enter one of the compartments provided in the polling station for the purpose to signify the vote by secretly marking the ballot paper with a cross in the appropriate place, and shall then fold the ballot paper in such a way that the official mark stamp is on it is visible, and the mark signifying the vote is not visible. Here, the statutory instrument is very prescriptive. It says using
An X.
an X. It didn't say using either a cross or an X. It says using, and so when the other part I read earlier says for you to signify, to mark and signify, it never said introduce a tick.
A tick.
In my view, it was referring back to this portion that specifies
Correct.
how you mark on a ballot
Interesting.
paper.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
we pack these two things. Now let's deal with the speculation. My colleague here talked about how people now are beginning to speculate that why have they picked only a tick? If their justification is to say this portion that I read earlier says mark the ballot paper in a way that indicates the candidate the voter intends to vote for, it doesn't say a tick. So let's assume we can go by this one in this particular election.
Yes.
Is it possible that the ECZ let them choose or recommend equals sign or division sign or question mark and not a tick? Then we are okay. Because if they insist on a tick only out of any other marking, that raises suspicion. And it speaks to this suspicion where people are saying maybe there are some pre-marked ballots that are coming from somewhere that would want to filter through the electoral system, and they look like it because ECZ has justified the tick. So we challenge ECZ. If you want the voters to use any other mark, let's use the X and maybe division or question mark, but just not the tick, because the tick, there's some suspicion around it. And that's why I've said ECZ, they found themselves in a very precarious situation, but they can come out of it. And you see, to manage an election and make it credible, you must remove any element of suspicion.
Correct.
Exactly.
And that is only ECZ that can do that.
And doubts in the minds of the people. Talking about the credibility on the Electoral Commission of Zambia and the needs for the commission to ensure that they carry everyone on board as far as the election is concerned. Last night, gentlemen and lady, I did host one of the man who should have been a presidential candidate in Chanda Katoto, with the Patriots for Economic Progress, PAP, in that regard. Now, there's something that he brought out in that interview, and he says, first of all, he doesn't miss his words. I tried to question him that, can you justify, can you apologize, can you retract? He says, I can't apologize because I strongly feel that the commission is not credible to deliver free and fair election. Now, here was a justification. Maybe before that, let me just play the video so that we listen to it, and then from there we dive into the conversation.
At a low level, it's being done at a high level. We decided to write 2 letters with full knowledge that Electoral Commission of Zambia is not credible. Electoral Commission of Zambia, I must insist that in its current, it's not a credible institution.
And you still maintain your allegation?
Yes, I still maintain it's not credible. It's not credible. So we wrote them a letter to say extend the nomination period so that we can have this thing resolved. Because you can't disenfranchise innocent people like that. It's not about Chanda Katotobwe or Shontembo. It's about Zambia. You can't change government records just like that and walk away. When you go into the election period, Parliament is dissolved. The de facto Minister of Home Affairs becomes the President of Zambia, Hakainde Hichilema. So we wrote a letter to him as President of Zambia and de facto Minister of Home Affairs. The Permanent Secretary of Home Affairs and Internal Security reports the President. So we brought to the attention of President Hakainde Hichilema the criminality which took place at Ministry of Home Affairs and Internal Security, and how we had been disenfranchised and that he should intervene. Unfortunately for us, we never got any reply. In the absence of any response, we decided to go to the press, and we held a press briefing on a Friday, which was like the closing date. We held a press briefing and basically narrated what our deal was and what has happened to our bid. In that period, I encouraged, my colleague Sean Tembo to quickly go and file in for Roma constituency to salvage something, because clearly this is crime and there is no rule of law. Because if you go to contest, it's the people of Zambia who should give you zeros. The work of Electoral Commission of Zambia is to just facilitate administratively that you must be able to, be on the ballot paper. So we proceeded. As we proceeded, we discovered that the same documents which Electoral Commission of Zambia refused, and made our bid invalid, and we were not able to compete. The same documents were accepted by the same Electoral Commission of Zambia in Kabwata. So Patriots for Economic Progress has a parliamentary candidate in Kabwata, Mr. Mawere. The same document. And you don't do, when you mean well and you're doing your job above board, you don't make such decisions, 5 days before polling day. What are you doing? What are you doing to the psychology of the people? What do you want? How can such a sensitive institution decide 5 days before polling day, you come and announce that we've removed the voter verification device, and you just walk away and you think it's normal? How? You can't come and announce. When I'm saying Electoral Commission of Zambia is not credible, you come and announce that you announce results on the 17th. you are accrediting, as we speak, Electoral Commission of Zambia is accrediting people at the National Totaling Center. So ECZ is accrediting people at the National Totaling Center to go and watch an ECZ television screen. It is unprecedented, and all this is fear. You see, be autonomous, stand ground. You can't go and announce that there will be no announcement of results. Results will come in, and implication is that results are coming in and you are keeping them. Why are you holding on? Why are you holding on to the results? The people have spoken. The people have voted. Your role is to announce results as and when they come in. That is your job. It is an accepted norm, regionally, continental, globally. It's a normal, globally accepted norm in elections that when results come, the electoral body conducting elections will announce those results as they come. But to come and issue a reckless statement because of lack of credibility and say that you will not announce elections results until starting 17th. We vote on the 13th. By 14th, results start trickling in. By 15th, results will be coming in. 16th, why are you holding on? What do you want? So when you make a pronouncement like that you announce on the 17th, unprecedented, against a standard accepted global concept, and you expect me to come and say Electoral Commission of Zambia is credible. Meanwhile, you are accrediting people at the National Totaling Center. So if you are accredited innocent, you go to the National Totaling Center on 14th of August, or you'll be watching a television screen from Electoral Commission of Zambia. Is that what you want to go and watch? You want to see results. You've seen how results come in at the Mlungwishi National Conference Center. I'm not talking from without. There's a precedence which has been set. There's an accepted norm. There are some things you can do. There are some things you can't do.
What should be done, Honorable, to improve our system and the way we operate? Thank you so much. Now, gentlemen and the lady, Chanda Katotowe and Sean Tembo, they were not allowed to file the nominations. Reason being that, according to the commission, the papers for PEP were not well, arranged from the registrar of societies. I think when they went, they found that the political party was actually turned into a church or a religious organization, as it were. Now, it's something funny. We laughed about it. The country joked about it. But here is something strange. You realize that the same organization, which had some anomalies in terms of the documentations, it should be 3 or 4 parliamentary candidates standing on the same political party. So you ask yourself, at presidential level, they were told you can't use this political party because the papers are not okay. So we can't admit you. While a ward councillor managed to file in, and his nominations papers were accepted. A parliamentary candidate, 2 of them or 3 of them, they were also admitted by the same organization using the same papers and the same secretary generals.
So the only response that would make sense is that all these others down there, if it's councillors or MPs, they were never targets. The targets were the ones at parliament, at presidential level. So the only thing that maybe kind of watered down the whole situation is the fact that it was just PEP, which in this current cycle, the election of the general election, the 2026 election, is not so much considered to be a heavyweight towards the race. Imagine if that had happened to a political party, say for instance, NRPOP or the Resolute Party. So these are things which Zambians need to be very much interested in. This is where I always go back to say, as Zambians, we need to be patriotic. What is wrong must be called out. And we say, no, this is not right. It cannot be allowed. And then you applaud what is right. So you cannot allow a system that clearly has particular targets and you keep quiet about it. I don't want to imagine if something like that had happened to a very popular candidate. We only have one Zambia. If we continue on this trajectory, believe me, one day we're going to see worse things in this country, because the people that we give certain positions, they become too comfortable and they feel like they can do what they want when they want.
Wow. Pike, tell me, what sense are you getting from there? You as a presidential candidate, just for example, you are being told we can't admit you because your political party doesn't exist as a political party. It is a church or a religious organization. Your children, they go and file in their nominations, their papers, they are accepted. What does it mean there?
Let's look at the time frames. There was a point at which they said PEP was classified as a church.
Yes.
That is the time that the presidential nominations were happening.
Yes.
Then, a few days later, the PS for Home Affairs held a press briefing and dispelled that assertion. I'm trying to figure out whether it was after that now the nomination for councillors.
It was before.
It was before?
The presidential was almost the last.
Yes.
The presidential was the last.
Yes. Parliamentary started earlier.
Okay, so
using the same secretary generals.
If that was the case, it again takes us back to the concerns that people have had about the credibility of the current Electoral Commission of Zambia composition to administer a credible, free and fair election. The things that are beginning to happen haphazardly now, with hindsight, are justifying the concerns that stakeholders have been raising. Because how can you justify that you say to a presidential candidate you can't stand, but your councillor, yes, they can stand,
and the MPs,
can stand under the same party that you said? I mean, look at Mr. Sean Tembo. He was forced to stand as an independent, parliamentary independent. So these standards are very inconsistent. They don't send confidence in the minds of the Zambian people. They do not give someone comfort to think that we're going into an election that will be free and fair. Just look at how they administered the campaign calendar. You give President Hakainde Hichilema, who is a candidate, a free pass to go anywhere he wants, but you restrict the rest only to 5 days per region. And if you exceed, the police will come and drive you out. This already is very unfair. It gives an advantage to one presidential candidate who is still holding on to the power of incumbents. So the ECZ at that position, at that time, when they were coming up with the calendar, they needed to include Mr. Hakainde Hichilema.
Just like Edgar Lungu used to be included in the presidential calendar.
Yes.
Other presidential candidates.
So already you have seen what the president has been doing now. Wherever his colleagues have gone, he's gone back there twice, 3 times. That is not fair, in all honesty. And the buck stops at ECZ, at Mr. Kasaro and at Mr. Mwangala Zaromes and all the commissioners, because they needed to create a level playing field for everyone.
Wow. Let's hear from Mike Sichula. I think it's quite dramatic, more especially the aspect of the Sean Tembo plus what you comrades have mentioned. But also the commission has announced that they will only start announcing the results on the 17th of August. These are some of the pointers, the takeaway key pointers as of yesterday's press briefing. In the previous election, I think by 15th, 16th, would have known who the president of the country or president-elect would be. This time around, they're saying we'll have to wait until 17th. That's when they will begin.
Well, I think that is the projection of the. I think by then the Electoral Commission of Zambia is anticipating to have a considerable number of ballot papers being counted across all the 226 constituencies in 116 districts. But that doesn't take away the people knowing as to how candidates have performed at the ward, district, province, and national level, because political parties are expected to have their monitors in all the polling stations. So I'm sure information will be there, but I think the official announcements, yes, at the National Tethering Center, that's when they'll begin to announce on the 17th. That's how I'm trying to look at this.
Right.
But just to add a few things on the area topic about Sean Tembo and I mean PEP having candidates he's standing here and there, but their president not standing. Assuming those candidates won, how is the Electoral Commission of Zambia going to treat those candidates? Are they going to be treated to be coming from a political party or a church organization? So these unfortunate standards that the Electoral Commission of Zambia has done. So are we saying the officers who received these nomination papers from these councillors of PEP and also the MP didn't know what the mother body in Lusaka were doing about PEP? So I think this issue, today we may look at it to be an oversight, but when
it's a scandal.
Yeah, it becomes a big issue. For instance, if those candidates won, how are you going to treat them? Because the president of the party, despite paying 100,000 kwacha, which they didn't even respond, you blocked them from standing because their party is appearing as a religious organization. So these issues, the Electoral Commission of Zambia, like I said earlier in the other topic, it's putting them in an awkward position.
Mr. Chula, I think, unless I'm wrong, I feel the best word you've used is blocked. Literally, they were just blocked.
Yes.
Because after that, after their day passed, days later, after Mr. Sean Tembo made a lot of noise around it, there was some clarification, and I think it was reverted to being a political party.
Correct,
right?
it was.
Yes. So it goes back to being a political party. But in that particular period, when they were supposed to be filing in for presidential candidacy, they became a religious organization. So there was just that gray area where somebody maybe hacked into the system, changed to make them ineligible, and then everything went back to normal. So you cannot have a system like that. It's something that is supposed to be seriously investigated. We cannot forego such issues. These are serious matters of the nation.
Yes,
like I said, imagine if this happened to NRPUP or Resolute Party. I ask so because these were and remain the main contenders even as we go into this election. If that had happened to a political party like that, do you think it would have remained as quiet and calm?
So history is going to judge the UPND to say, during your time, you had the PF broken down. During your time, a political party became a church organization. So you see all those issues.
What a story. All right, let's move on, gentlemen and the lady. Of course, let's look at some other voices, of course, that are now adding their, contributing to the vote protection and also calling the country to remain peaceful ahead of the election. This is a very quite, interesting statement which has been issued by one former army commander in Lieutenant General Paul Mihova, as it were, and the other prominent stakeholders, the Brebina Changala of today. They are saying Zambia has enjoyed peace for many years, and therefore let's maintain the peace we have enjoyed. Very interesting, and of course a timely caution to Zambians. PK, the former army commander, speaking out, calling for peace in the country.
Very important, but it must call us to a moment of reflection.
Right.
And it must call us to a level of sobriety as a nation, because it's very unusual for a retired army chief to speak and call for calm and peaceful elections. Of course, he's not the only one who has spoken.
Yeah.
There are others who co-authored that, but really he stands out because he's a former army commander. Now, let's pause here for a moment and put things into context. The men and women in uniform are non-partisan. They don't support any political party. They don't belong. That is number one. They are well decorated and highly respected. They've represented the nation in peacekeeping in different troubled spots on the continent and the rest of the world.
You have to say some men and women in uniform, because there was another man in a uniform who said President Hakainde Hichilema is the best president ever.
No, I'm coming to that.
Oh.
You are taking away steam
fire.
from
thunder.
So they've gone to do peacekeeping. They are very much aware of what instability can do to a nation. So they do not want or wish this, which has been held as a beacon of peace for many years as a nation, to disintegrate or degenerate into that. Now, with that in mind, I remember I said earlier that the army and everyone else, they are supposed to be neutral. They don't support political parties. They support the government, the republic. That is their role. Unfortunately, you see, in the military, there is hierarchy. So the first former commander, the first former army commander are alive. In the hierarchy is regarded still superior and the senior most.
Correct.
So you have a superior and senior most retired former commander in the name of General
Miova.
Chinkuli. Chinkuli, who has openly endorsed President Hakainde Hichilema. He complicates everything and what the army stands for and what the army believes in. You understand? He became partisan.
Yes.
He was not supposed to. So therefore, when you see another former army commander call for peaceful elections, he is speaking perhaps to some of these things.
Just to manage
Just to manage.
the community.
Exactly. Remember, there was also a former intelligence chief in the name of Xavier Chung, who said there is going to be regime change. He was arrested, for saying that. So there are all of these things that are happening that people with sober minds, professionals, retired, and still love the nation, may be reading what we do not see.
Yes.
And they are now beginning to speak.
Get worried.
Yes. So this is very key and very important for Lieutenant General Paul Miova, retired, who is now an ambassador representing this country, I think in the United Kingdom or whatever. I don't know which country is representing us, but he's an ambassador. So for him and long others to come out in this manner and appeal for peaceful elections says a lot, that we still have men and women who love this country and do not want to take sides. And I think for me and any Zambian who loves the peace that we have enjoyed, let's heed to that call. Please stay away from violence. Please, let's go into that booth and vote and go back home and eat your shima and wait for the release of elections results. That's it. So that is why it's very important that we discuss the story from Lieutenant General Paul Miova.
Right. Charity Ntonga, I just love the background Pika has given.
Very powerful.
Yeah, quite detailed. Huh?
Yeah.
And I will come in and tell you that I lived in a neighboring country that has an image of war linked to it for 5 years.
Right.
And I tell you, you take peace for granted. In Zambia, when we hear gunshots, we even go, Sometimes we even joke about it and say in Zambia where there's a gunshot, that's where the people are running to.
Correct.
It's because we're very peaceful. For us, it's just a gunshot, probably whatever is going on. But when you're in a country where gunshot means run, I tell you, you don't want to be in that environment. There was a period when rebels had started terrorizing the area once again. And these are rebels who would also use some sort of magic.
Right.
So 1 minute they're there, the next minute they're not there. Okay, and these are gun-wielding people. When shots are fired, it means run for real. So you're going to the airport, and then suddenly you hear gunshots. Everything changes in that morning. You're not getting on the plane. You are stuck. I tell you, I realized that my home is very nice. It's very peaceful.
I hear you.
Zambians should know that peace is beautiful. You can go and open a tap of water and there's clean water there. You take it for granted because you think that's the normal thing. When you open your tap, water comes out. But when there's destabilization of a nation, you get to a point where just to find clean drinking water becomes a problem. And we say water is life. The only thing that I would urge the Zambians, even as we go out and vote out there, is there. Remember, try as much as you can to keep the peace.
Right.
You really want to live in a peaceful country. This record that Zambia has always been given, the beacon of peace and everything, people, there's a reason why we have so many nationalities in Zambia. It's because of the peace that we have held for a very long time.
Interesting. Max Chula, I think also this put on the spot President Hakainde Hichilema and his administration, because look, listening to PK, listening to Charity Mtonga about the peaceful nature and the peaceful environment we have enjoyed as a country for many years, you realize that even Dr. Kaunda himself, a man who was, accused with all sort of names, he was a dictator, he was whatever, all those things. But one thing he did was to maintain the peace Zambia has been enjoying. So you can appreciate him at that level. Despite all the elections he held, including the crucial election of 1991, Dr. Kaunda demonstrated leadership. After being defeated, he handed over power peacefully to FDJ at a time. The subject here is about peace. Again, bringing the Mwanawasa, bringing the Rupia Banda, talk about the elected Chagwa Lungu, despite the humiliation, all the names he was called, Edgar Lungu, but he managed to maintain the country and the peace that we enjoyed. It actually puts HH as well on his administration to demonstrate that they can also do it in terms of maintaining the peace.
Yes, I'm glad that a number of church organizations are holding prayers. Most of the churches that I've come across, they're either having prayers on Tuesday, others Monday, Wednesday. The purpose is that we should have a peaceful period before, during, and after 8.7 million Zambians cast their vote. Because they also know that in a place where there's instability, the preaching of the gospel becomes very difficult. And it's also very important, as Charity here has stated, because there are things that we take for granted, and we should not take things for granted. I'm sure, as we sit here, IP and my colleagues, let's imagine the family of Kungo, who was killed on the day of voting because someone just claimed to say he had marked ballot papers. I'm sure to this year, they are probably thinking about their late beloved father, uncle, son. So it is because of taking things for granted. Someone tells you, when you see this one, you should beat him, or you should, or do whatever thing you do. Today, Mr. Kungo is not with us because of political violence. The people that may have sent him, probably they have probably enjoyed under the UPND administration because we do not know them. But look at the family of Kungo. this year, 5 years, they are remembering their lost relative. So it is because of this peace that we take for granted. Imagine if other people who supported Mr. Kungo also retaliated. So my appeal to Zambians, and I'm glad that again the church bodies are preaching peace, because they have done it from the time of Kaunda, like you have stated, through to the time of President Hakainde Hichilema, and himself, President Hakainde Hichilema, is promising to withhold,
demonstrate the same.
The same.
Correct.
Because remember, President Hakainde Hichilema has been competing, like you've been telling me to say, why do you say that? Competing against the dead, in terms of saying, me, I'm the best president of all the past presidents. So he has the challenge now to say, my late former presidents demonstrated that even where there's strong divisions in terms of who you support, peace must be held in the highest esteem. He has that challenge this year to demonstrate that he can ensure that Zambians vote. Lastly, Zambians, look, if there's a change of government, the people that are sponsoring you, they will not be there with you. Because the government that may come in, they'll be ruthless and they'll arrest you, throw you in prison. So let's guard this peace jealously. Like PK has said, when you cast your vote, go. Be whatever you're going to do, wherever you're going to go. Don't involve yourself in acts of political violence.
All right, thank you so much. Let's move on to another story, Director. Now look at the remarks coming from President Hakainde Hichilema, who has advised UPND cadres to allow NRPUP to campaign freely in Southern Province. As you are aware that the NRPUP came from Western Province, and now they are heading to Southern Province, which will be their last stop, and as far as the campaigns are concerned. When you listen to the remarks and the advice by the President, PK, what do you make of this advice or this caution?
Well, first of all, if the advice came from a sincere place, I think it's a very welcome call. I'm not just too sure why it was specifically in reference to Southern Province and not anywhere else where NRPUP was being attacked. They were attacked on the Copper Belt. They were attacked in Northwestern. They were attacked in Western Province. Southern was supposed to be the last campaign. I'm not too sure if by now they should have gone there. But I can see that they were in a church somewhere today. And I'm wondering, when are they ever going to travel to the Southern Province? Now, I was, before we started this program, excuse me, I was just reading a media statement about some of the core team within the Brian Mundubile campaign that have been picked up by police. There is an assertion in that statement indicating that there was perhaps a potential a potential exercise that was going to be undertaken for those who are being arrested from Lusaka to be arrested while they are in Livingstone. I don't know whether that information is true or not, but that is what the BM media team, have put out in the public domain. So if indeed what they are alleging has any truth to it, the question would be then, why would anyone want to venture into a place that might look like a trap, an ambush? So they are weighing all of these options. They are losing time. My advice would be, during the 2021 elections, there was COVID. All political parties were doing virtual rallies. If Southern Province is such a trouble spot that the president saw it fit to speak to his cadres that they shouldn't attack, when you read through that, it would also look like, was that an admission that potentially the cadres from UPND have been
ruthless,
attacking. For the president to issue that statement and assure that these elections, campaigns should go ahead without disruption, it would appear like it's almost like an admission that yes, indeed, UPND cadres have been attacking Munduwile's team. So my view then would be maybe the Brian Munduwile team in the last few days should consider just holding virtual rallies. This hour we are addressing Mongu, Mazabuka.
Choma.
This hour we are addressing issues of Choma. The next hour will be addressing like that. They address and speak to and tell the people to say, we would have loved to come, but our lives are in danger. We have seen the pictures, how they were attacked everywhere else. So if that indeed, in fact, I'm told some of his advisors have said, we need you on the ballot and not anywhere else. So if they can preserve the fact that by not going there, they will not be attacked and they can use a virtual rally to address Southern Province. Let it be so, so that the nation can move on in peace without having to point at the last campaign. This is what had happened. And my last submission on this is really it's an indictment on the UPND administration, as I've always said. They claim to have ended violent cadreism. Where is this coming from? And how is it that any other UPND campaign person, whether councillor, MP, presidential candidate, they have not been attacked? So why is the opposition, especially the Brian Munduwile, being the only casualties in all of this? Why?
Wow. Charity, your take. I think it's, when Pika was speaking, I'm asking myself, why should it be so difficult for an opposition leader to campaign countrywide? Why should it be difficult for Brian Munduwile from the opposition to go and campaign in the UPND's so-called strongholds? When he himself, President Hakainde Hichilema, the UPND, they flew across the country during their reign in the opposition. Yes, they were, humiliated here and there, but much of the pictures and the videos that were happening was basically the altercation between the Zambia police at the time and the UPND cadres, and not necessarily the PF cadres blocking, the roads as we saw in Western Province and stuff like that. Why should it be so? And should NRP-UP, should they attempt to go to Southern Province? And if they did so, are they safe, looking at what happened to Gary Nkombo?
No, they're not safe. They shouldn't even dare go there. The statement that the president issued is just a statement. It's not the first one. The people who were perpetrating violence, is it in Western Province? There are so many areas that cadres were captured and nobody has been arrested. The president had issued a vague statement earlier. There was no call for arrests. There is no record to this day of UPND cadres who've been arrested because they were violent towards the opposition political parties. That place where Dimba, General Kanene was beaten, in Shibuyonji,
yes,
there's a gentleman who is pro-UPND.
That's Dennis Semutumba.
Yes,
He's been quite vocal.
He spoke to the president in the video,
yes,
where he said, can you stop this? Tell your people to stop these attacks. They attacked, he identified people. They should have shown.
He was able to identify those people.
He identified those.
He's a UPND.
He's UPND.
Yes.
He
so
called
he was
out a
left out from the
particular
adoption
mic.
slot. That's how he decided to go independent now.
Yes.
Yes.
So they should have shown us at least the will by at least arresting, even if it is for sure, 2 or 3 people to say these ones have been arrested because they're the ones who are wielding machetes in Shibuyonji, But these are just statements. What Zambians want is an election on the 13th of August. So should President Mundubele and President Makebi Zulu travel to Southern Province and get beaten there to a point where we do not have an election? No. I'm sure even their supporters in Southern Province would want them to be safe, would want them to be on the ballot. So for me, that statement really, I don't even know why these statements even make headlines. In my days as news editor, that one is not going anywhere near my front, my top 2 headlines. It's not even a headline. He's not issuing a statement towards an issue that he's in the dark about. He's not issuing a statement towards some story that he's heard of. He has seen the violent people. He's not done anything about it. He should issue a statement the same way he would say, that boy JJ, I want him arrested. He should say, that Mike that was identified, that blah blah blah, that blah blah blah, and that blah blah blah, I want them arrested. IG, what are you doing about it? Do you not see those videos? Verify if they are not AI and have those guys arrested. Then I'll write that story.
My officer has been injured.
Then, yes, my officer has been injured. I'm promoting that guy and I want those people who did that to him arrested. Then I will have that story in my news. Not that he has said that they should do... Not attack. No, that's not news.
Well, Mike Sichula, your take as we move on.
As a person who is interested in analyzing speeches, when I came across that statement from the president, I looked for something and I didn't find it, because the president issued a blanket statement urging people in Southern Province not to allow NRPU, to allow the opposition to campaign, right? Is it every Jim and Jack who attacked Mundubile in Northwestern Province? No, it was not every Jim and Jack like ordinary Zambians going about their business activities.
Right.
From the pictures that we have been able to see, those were clad in UPND regalia. It is not every Jim and Jack. We could see even videos where ordinary members of the public in Kalabo were going about their businesses as the NRPU presidential candidate was being attacked. So the moment the president urged the people of Southern Province not to disrupt the campaigns of the Tonse Alliance, I needed to say the president is not being sincere. The president, if he needed to carry credibility, because from the complaints that we have seen, the opposition has complained, independent members of parliament, candidates have complained that we have been attacked by UPND thugs. Charity here has just spoken about General Kanene. Kanene himself, the victim, has said, I was attacked by UPND cadres. So, are those the ordinary members of the public who attacked General Kanene? General Kanene has refused, the victim himself. So for me, that statement by the president was running away from responsibility, taking responsibility to say his cadres, whom when he goes on every podium, he more or less like pampers them that they are not violent cadres.
He quenulas
them that they are not violent cadres, right? When he goes on every platform, what is he telling us? He's reminding us of how the PF were terrorizing marketeers. He's reminding us of how he was not, he jumped over the roof in Ndola. PF cadres wanted to attack it. Or you see how the president is doing it. So, but when it comes to his cadres, the president is running away from taking responsibility. But as a good leader, or a good parent, you must be able to say, actually my neighbor, my son is the one who has done this, I'm going to discipline him. But if you are going to say, issue a blanket statement to say, Vana ni so chabe, then you are making your child to be a sporty child who is going to do something bad.
You're enabling.
Yes, because your father or mother will come back you to say, no, you're okay. So that statement for me, the president is running away from taking responsibility. As a head of state, he needs to take responsibility, because on every platform, like I've said, the president is telling us of how bad the PF used to be. They were attacking him. Then lastly, which is very interesting, Look, the president, he has told the two boys that Kunkara president ni kulimba. That is not just an ordinary statement. What does he? He's saying, so now the president is saying, even if where you want to go, it's an hostile environment, go there, because Kunkara president ni You see how the issue. So you can't. So meaning you can't become a president on a silver platter. You have to fight for it. But why should we fight for it in a country that is a democratic state?
Yeah.
If the PF were too brutal on him, he promised Zambians that we have ended Kadarism.
Yeah.
So the issues of Kunkara president in Kulimba, like yes, no, mama balema baja bafana baja. So the president is sending a message to say, my friends, where I am here, don't think it is an easy. You are going to have it easy to come here.
All right, let's go to, we'll try to share a minute each. I think let's give an introspection, gentleman and the lady. I think you remember some 2 years ago, there was a report which, there was a statement which was issued by government, but also a very nice video, well-packaged video, and which was done by one Jito Kayumba from State House, telling the country that we had embarked on the mineral survey exercise to ensure that we identify which areas had minerals and what we could rather utilize those minerals to the benefits of the country. So I am sure you remember, the viewers, we discussed this program I think some 2-3 years ago. But let's watch this video of Jito Kayumba, then we'll get into the discussion.
Zambians must support
Right. PK, do you remember about that video?
Yes, I do remember, because prior to that, there was again public uproar when news filtered through that a private company had been contracted to do aerial survey. So it was important that that video came out, but also this matter was tabled before Parliament. Parliament was informed that the government was intending to map out, through an aerial survey, which areas had what mineral deposits. The expectation, therefore, IP, was that when this report is out, it needed to be tabled back before Parliament, or at most, we needed a statement to be issued. And someone might argue to say, no, there is no Minister of Mines. There is a PS of Mines. There is also government which is still fully functional. So we needed to hear the government say, oh, the report has come out. We have discovered these deposits and these deposits and these deposits. Now, I had President Brian Mundubile in the Northwestern Province challenging President Hakainde Hichilema, saying, why are you keeping that public report? It is not yours, it is for the Zambian people. And rightly so. The Zambian people need to know what has come out of that survey. It is our taxpayers' money that funded that aerial operation. Those guys, I'm sure, they walked away with a lot of millions of dollars, if not kwachas, you know, to just do that. So now to have a government that keeps that critical information away from the public, it raises a lot of questions. What is actually even more discomforting is the fact that despite the public challenge by a leading presidential contender, the president has just zoned out, muted himself off that demand for him to show transparency and accountability to say, here is the report. You know, I'm sure even if you had asked the permanent secretary for information, you probably would have just brushed it aside as well. And yet he's supposed to give the information to the Zambian people. So
I was going to be told that ni pressure yako.
Oh no, I was thinking would have asked ni report ya nyoko.
Pike submit.
So it's very important that that report be made available.
Yeah.
The president cannot pretend not to have had the public challenge thrown at him,
right?
You know, by President Brian Mundubile. He is aware, he knows what the content, and the public wants to know, because that is not a report that belongs to the president personally. No, it belongs to the Zambian people. That's why Jito, his economic advisor, came to the public to inform us that there is this happening.
Correct.
So when the outcome has come out, why are you zipping and keeping it
behind
under the lock?
No, that's not right. So we need the report, Mr. President. We need the report.
maybe it's because I think it's been almost a week from the time Brian Mundubile challenged the president or requested the president to make that report public. Let's play this video again of Brian Mundubile so that maybe the president, he may now listen and watch this this video again.
I'll end on that segment by challenging President Hakainde Hichilema. Mr. President, that report, a survey which was carried out countrywide to establish the endowment of minerals right across the country, the report was assembled and handed over to government. We would like you to make public the contents of that report. The Zambians in Northwestern Province would like to know. The Zambians in Southern Province would like to know. The Zambians in Central Province would like to know. Zambians in Mafinga, Northern, Western, Eastern, we would like to know what mineral wealth exists in those particular areas. The traditional leaders would like to know, so that they can also begin to participate in the distribution of this wealth. Mr. President, I challenge you. That report is out. To our knowledge, we hear even the Ministry of Mines has had no access to that report. What a shame. That is a public report because public funds were spent on that report. It's not for the Hichilema family, it's for the Zambian people. Mr. President, can you produce that report so that the people of Mfumbwe, the people of Kabompo, the people of Manyinga, the people of Zambezi, the people of Chavuma can have sight of that report and make some investment decisions going forward? Our traditional leaders would like to see that report. So, Mr. President, you can't keep that report as a part of the family collection. That is for the Zambian people, and the Zambian people would like to see that report.
From there, I'll throw it to Charity Mtonga. There's a public outcry here from through Brian Mundubile, but of course many stakeholders are saying we need to know what is contained in this mineral survey report.
It's a very important report. Zambians should be interested in it, not only because they financed it, but also because we know, we at least have an idea that our country is rich. So there's always been this notion to say we don't understand why we are still poor despite having natural resources. Our friends, Namibia, cleared their debt, you know.
You can say that again.
And I feel it is because of having a leader who is actually interested in solving the country's problems. So what we want to know is what was found out. How much do we actually have? You know? The president, as PK said earlier, has had the privilege of going around again to the places that NRPOP leader has gone to. And it took the second and third rounds to be his opportunity to answer to the previous questions that were put across. But deliberately, he does not answer to that particular challenge. Why is that so? He's had the privilege of going around again. He's answering to these other issues, but not that particular one. What are they hiding? We need to know. I feel, I want to speculate. Should I?
No,
You can't.
I don't know.
Unfortunately so.
I don't know.
You'll be picked up.
See, what I want to say
You
is
speculate.
what I want to say is that I feel Zambia is rich.
Yeah.
And I know that now our president knows to what extent. Now the question mark now is, what are they doing with this report now that they've found out just how rich Zambia is? The rest is for the Zambians to see.
Talks about Namibia, which has been, I think the woman, Nandi, she's been very, strict in terms of the usage of the minerals in that country. IP
and our dear viewers, whatever Zambia owes the international community, whatever President Hakainde Hichilema have been saying, we have restructured the debt. If there was will, a political will, like he has demonstrated to have increased CDF, that debt that the PF left, we were going to pay it. I'm speaking like this because I had an opportunity to speak to former Secretary to the Treasury, Mr. Fredson Nyamba. I asked him to say, why are you borrowing so many? Why do you keep borrowing? By then they were in government. You keep borrowing, and the opposition are saying what you're borrowing is not sustainable. You know, he gave me just a very simple answer. He said, creditors, when they want to lend money to Zambia, they look at two things: the willingness to pay and the ability to pay. So if Zambia has been going, despite us having a huge debt, and they are giving us money, they have seen that we have the capacity to pay, and we are willing to pay.
I see.
So this issue of the restructuring debt, for me, it's just lacking political will. A very good example from Namibia. I think the President Naitumbo had not even sat in office for a year.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Correct.
But I know people are going to say, no, the population of Namibia cannot be compared to Zambia. But that's not an issue.
But how much was involved?
Yes, we're looking at how much was involved.
But she knows what she's doing.
And
she
said,
make use of the minerals.
Let's not waste a lot of time. Let's clear it so that we take off this burden over our shoulder and begin to focus on developing Namibia. This is the same issue that the president should have done in Zambia. Then coming to the report that the Zambian government engaged a foreign firm, it's just an update. Because when you go to the geological department, they know to say in the Northwestern there are these minerals. They know that information was already done by the late Kaunda through our colonial rulers. But now this one that we're having is an updated. It's not that I don't want even to hear because the UPND have got this issue of saying we are the first. It's just updating.
Like David Livingstone.
Yes. So this is just going to be an updated because of modern use of technology.
He discovered the waterfalls.
Yes. So our viewers, why this information is important to you and I to know is that when this information is available to the public, we want to avoid the situation whereby you just discover that where you have a farm, someone comes up with a license to say, no, I'm going to do an exploration here without you knowing
So
the
it's
owner.
important that
It
we are
is
aware.
important that we are aware. And there was actually a system that was used by the Ministry of Mines where you can actually get this information through their websites so that you understand to say, okay, here there's this, here there's that, here, and so on and so forth. So if the government is going to sit quiet, the government, by sitting quiet, the government may be saying, no, maybe the report has not been completed. But if Mr. Munduwire, who is the front runner, as an opposition front runner, I doubt he can speak from without. Because there are people who position themselves in government. And how do they position themselves? They will get this to my information and delete.
And feed you. Yes, and also you gave one reason why it's important for the Zambians to know. It is also important for the Zambians to know because then you will know just how much sujilite you have in the country. And so no politician will come to you tomorrow and say, no, the amount of sujilite that we had was actually very little, and that was everything that was discovered, and it went missing. It grew legs. You will know to say it's not possible that amount suddenly depleted. So it's very important that you know just how much you have of what.
Wow. All right, let's look at some people who have been arrested. I think we've seen, this is a story that we haven't given much attention, as the arrest of some musicians. We're talking about Chester. There's a gentleman called Shenki, of course, that's a stage name, and also another young man who goes by his stage name as IDC. These individuals that have been in police cells close to a week now. But also, Kennedy Kamba is another person who has suffered the arrest, a few days before the general election. Why is this important, dear viewers? We bring this because if you read some old statements coming from President Hakainde Hichilema, the UPND, they said, we have restored the rule of law. And in our rule of law, we will make sure that if a matter is bondable, you give them bond within 24 hours, as it were. And he said, never again should I see people or suspects being detained beyond 48 hours. But these individuals, these young men, have been in cells, on police cells for the last 5-6 days now. What is happening? Kennedy Kamba the same. He's complaining, he's lamenting that, please, can you charge me? What crime did I commit? Okay, let's deal with the rule of law.
Yeah,
but also you gave an example of some people have been, it is said or rumored that have been also arrested again. Those were part of the Munduwire entourage.
Before we talk about the rule of law, let's talk about the promise. It was a promise.
People don't want to listen to the promise. They don't
The
want to be
promise,
reminded.
But they have to.
The promise was given by the president that cyber law will go. Has it gone?
No.
The promise was given that the rule of law will be upheld. No one will be in detention for longer than, is it 48 hours?
48 hours.
Or prescribed by law. Is that happening? Now you've
Never
just
again.
given us a list of people that have been languishing in detention for over a week, not been charged, not appeared anywhere.
Let's have those faces on the screen, director, as well.
We don't even know their condition. So I have spoken to the promises. The promises were given. Were they fulfilled? I will leave that to the Zambian people to judge. You talked about the rule of law. I think I've in part addressed that as well. It's not being applied. But let me zero in on the issue that you have raised. Let's do a parallel here.
Yeah.
You have Shenki and who? IDC
and Chester.
And Chester, what have they been doing?
Kennedy
First
Kamba.
of all, who are they? They are artists.
Yes.
What have they been doing? They've been singing on the NRPUP platform. let's come this side. Who is on the entertainment side of the UPND?
The Your Map.
It's,
You have
it's
your
a
map.
very long list. We'll complete another hour.
Another day. Okay, there are so many.
None of them has been arrested?
None of them has been arrested. These artists who have been arrested, what crime did they commit? Is to perform for Mundubire a crime? Because the police haven't charged them. We are not aware.
The police, Chilabi spoke about breach of peace. What do they call that?
Okay.
Yeah.
Breach of peace.
Conduct like-
Yes, he spoke to that.
They were performing, so they were likely to breach a peace by performing.
I don't know, but he
Let's-
said to that.
Let's
He spoke
put
to
this
that.
in. Let's put this into context.
Yeah.
Of all the faces that were shown and captured on camera, both in Kitwe, in Northwestern, in Western, Luampa in particular, you saw those young men standing
stones,
holding
yes.
stones. So you mean the police don't know those young men?
Up to date, they have not
No,
arrested.
they have not been arrested. Then the musicians for an opposition party figure, you go and arrest them. What do you want us to judge and to conclude? Why haven't you arrested the Ted Bear as well?
Yeah.
Maybe the Ted Bear also can breach the peace.
Yeah.
You see, you may laugh, Mike,
No,
but
yeah.
these are serious issues.
Very serious issues.
These
yes.
are serious. You can't have
Yeah.
one set of entertainers because they are performing on an opposition platform. They have potential to breach the peace. What did they do exactly?
Exactly.
Because he was asked by a presenter on Hot FM to say, what really did they do?
Correct.
He couldn't specify.
Exactly.
But he just said, this law, they could normally, the issue of breach of peace, whatever. That's all he said. And you know what? He went on to say, it's actually not a very, it's a misdemeanor, something that is not very serious. You can just pay a fine. But
So why are they in
the
detention?
presenter asked, why have they not allowed them to pay a fine so that they should be released?
Yeah.
Mr. Chirawi could not give a concrete answer. So this is why I'm laughing, because look, you are bringing out very serious issues. We have got pictures of people who are throwing stones. And actually, one of the person who was stoned is a fellow police officer.
And you haven't arrested them. Then you find it comforting to go and arrest a musician. Honestly speaking, Mr. Grafo Msamba, why haven't you arrested those perpetrators of violence, political violence? Why? Musicians, you arrest them and then you haven't presented them before the court. At least do the right thing.
Correct.
Present them before the court. Look at what happened to our fellow journalist at ZNBC. Macpherson was in
14
police
days.
custody for 14 days, 2 weeks.
Yeah.
It had to take the High Court to compel the police to release him. Why should we come to those levels when the president, when he was campaigning, promised heaven on earth?
No, forget campaigning. Even when he's been president, he's repeatedly said these things.
Even
About
today.
About
the rule of law.
Investigate before you arrest.
Thank you.
You need to make sure that you give people, for those matters that are bailable, give people bail.
Okay. If that's what the president has been saying, then who is disobeying the president? Is it Mr. Grafo Msamba? Why is the president then keeping whoever is not obeying the
correct.
presidential directive?
Yeah.
Where in my books, when the president speaks,
Yeah.
his appointed official must act on the presidential
Decree.
directive.
Yes.
So if the president has said don't arrest, but you are arresting, you are not just arresting, you are keeping them and not presenting them. You are literally disobeying the president. So my question is, why is it normal that the people who are disobeying the president are still in their offices and no one is taking an issue with it? So I don't know who to believe. Is it the word of the president or is it the actions of Mr. Grafo Msamba and his men? This is very confusing for every Zambian.
I think let's attach. Okay, hold on there. I wanted to say we have to be serious as a country.
Yes.
And the point is this: let's assume that those men, they committed a crime. Okay, they misconducted themselves. Let's just assume,
Yes.
peradventure. But also, the they're supposed to be released or given bond.
Yes.
Because that's what the president said, I remember very well. And he could say, read my lips. Never, never, never again during his inauguration ceremony. No one should be arrested before you carry out investigation. Now, here's a statement which was issued by Mr. Chilabi, the Zambia police spokesperson, in connection with the detention of Mr. Kenneth Kamba. And he says the Zambia Police Service confirms that Mr. Kenneth Kamba is in police custody in connection with an ongoing investigation. Further information will be provided in due course. Issued by Chilabi. 2 paragraphs. So you have to, first of all, capture someone, throw them in police cells, then you start investigations.
Yes.
Or you continue with investigations. Contrary to what the president instructed them. He said, police officers, law enforcers, can you ensure that you investigate first? When you are done with all the investigations, can you effect an arrest? Even when you arrest someone again, if one is qualifies to be bonded, give them bond. Bail, give them bail. Where are we today? And these are the things that someone will get upset when they want to when they begin to listen to these things.
They don't want to hear the truth. And you see, it must be very tough even for Chilabi, because that 2-paragraph statement really shows you that even as a writer, you ask yourself, where will I start from? How do I justify this? So we are living in times where surely everybody by now knows that the social space has become very difficult. People are scared to speak up. And I do not exaggerate when I tell you that today when I was coming here, my 15-year-old daughter told me, Mommy, you should pray as you go there. Be very careful. Huh? We want you. You are our only parent. Okay? She's also gotten to a point where she fears to say, they can come and just grab you here. Or they will come and beat us. Is this the Zambia that we want to live in? I think no. We cannot justify... I don't know how true it is that they were the Chester guys and the likes were actually taken to remand. There was that story making the rounds. If that is an exaggeration, that is another thing. But the fact still remains that these people were detained.
Correct.
For what? Breach of peace, really. If they've got people to sign for them, why are they not yet out? And everybody is throwing the ball to the next person. Nobody wants to take responsibility. And that is how you have the breakdown of the rule of law. Because we are here now questioning to say, is it the president's word that is not carrying enough weight, or it's just
the commander himself?
The commander himself just doing things with impunity. We really don't know. But the fact of the matter is, people are being held against their constitutional rights for way too long. So many crimes are being committed and nobody is paying for it.
Wow. Mike Chula, quickly, less than a minute.
Quickly, late President Edgar Lungu, I think almost during the same period, he had challenged the Zambia police to restore public confidence in the way they discharge their duties. Now, when you look at that statement and you look at the police under the UPND administration, are they adding... Do you have confidence with them? With what PK has alluded to, you can clearly say that very few critical Zambians have public confidence in the way the police are discharging their duties. Because when I listened to Mr. Godfrey Chilabi on Hot FM, he actually indicated that for them to be released, the fine is less than 100 kwacha.
It's about 45 kwacha.
Yes. So now, are you telling me the families of the arrested musicians cannot afford that? They have money and they have got friends that can pay that admission of guilty. But why is it that the police have not made it possible that these issues can be signed? Okay, Mr. Chester, this ABCD, you are guilty. Wachoka. So you can clearly see that it is not the will of the police to hold them on. There is someone who is saying, let them stay there. Because look, what have they been doing in the last 3 months? they have been drumming up support for Mr. Brian Mundubile and Makebi Zulu and their Tonse Alliance partners. With them in custody, the only thing the Brian Mundubile and team can do is to play the songs from a flash, not see the actual people perform. Remember, these artists, when they go at the podium, they attract people because some of them have never seen them before. But when you keep them incarcerated, you have achieved something. You have paralyzed the Brian Mundubile team from campaigning in Southern Province. Who knows, maybe Brian Mundubile and his legal team, they are waiting for these people to be released so that they can go with them to Southern Province. So you see how this issue is praying. So lastly, President Hakainde Hichilema and the Zambia police, they are not adding any value in terms of people having confidence in the way the police are working under your administration.
All right, quickly, let's close in with the Bino Mpundu imaged video as well, something that, of course, needs to be talked about. The gentleman and the lady, of course, I will not play it because it's quite very, in my view, it's quite sensitive, so I will not play it. But those that have watched it, I think the remarks issued by Honorable Bino Mpundu that this election, not we have invested our lives in this election, but also we are ready to be killed and we are ready to kill. I think this statement, we thought we could talk about it. PK.
It's a very unfortunate statement coming from an opposition figure. When I listened to it, my first instinct told me Mr. Bino Mpundu needed to be a bit more careful with what he says publicly. He's a leader. He's been a member of parliament.
A senior leader, actually.
Yes. And also is closely associated with the President Brian Mundubile. He cannot afford to say anything that is triggered by emotion. In a moment like this, as a leader, you need to be very composed and avoid any emotions that, with hindsight, you'd regret having said something. And in this respect, I think what Honorable Honorable Bino Mpundu said was totally out of line. I mean, it was not necessary. You can express your dissatisfaction without going to the length that he went to. I'm sorry, but in communication, we always try to encourage people, even when you are provoked. I know sometimes we get also very agitated, but we don't speak outside the confines of the law. You can be agitated, but still maintain your speech within the confines of the law. What he said can be classified as, inciting, for instance. So it's very unnecessary, and I think our colleagues in the opposition can do better. Yes, you are being provoked, but please, people are looking to you for leadership. How you handle pressure, matters. So clearly, I don't think we're going to see the end of this particular matter.
I could see the struggle in PK's, expression. It goes to show you how difficult and how sensitive this matter is. I personally, I didn't find it fit to play it because really, it's quite sensitive. So if such kind of words are coming from a leader that we have invested our lives, we are ready to be killed and we are ready to kill, I think, for me, that's reckless, if you ask me. In honest and apologetically so, it is reckless.
So I think we've consistently spoken against misinformation, disinformation, and abuse of latest trends, because the former Nkana MP has gone ahead to claim that is artificial intelligence, that he has no access to his page. He only approves some messages from his admins. So this is the same page. One with a post that speaks of very careless words, and one which clears his name. Why does he expect us to believe the one that clears his name to say this is artificial intelligence and not believe the video that has been posted there?
I don't agree with that.
It
That's
is
a lack
very-
of responsibility again.
It is very
we're talking about.
irresponsible for leaders to use
Yeah.
emotions and utter words like that.
Yeah.
That video has already gone.
Correct.
Other people may not even have access to the so-called
damage control, as it were.
control. The damage will have already gone out there. I've constantly said we need to keep the peace.
Yeah.
So when you're a leader, you've got people who follow you, who look up to you, who will do whatever it is that they feel
Who you
has been
inspire.
approved by you. So really, that, no, we cannot allow. We have one Zambia and one Zambia to protect.
Correct. I agree with you. Comrade Mike Sichula.
Mr. Binwe Mpundu is a presidential assistant to Mr. Brian Mundwire, and he needed to handle his emotions very well. We are coming from a period, if you recall, there was a time Honorable Mtoteka Foya said something about the people of Western Province.
Yeah.
So
For the airport.
about the airport. So when you have people within the inner circle begin to issue statements that do not align with the presidential candidate, then you are putting your presidential candidate in an awkward position.
Yeah.
What has Brian Mundwire said whenever he has gone to campaign? He has said that our government, our administration, is going to ensure that there is no cadarism,
Yeah.
which simply means he doesn't want any acts of violence
Yeah.
under his administration. He has also spoken about having a professionalized civil service. So meaning, if Mr. Mundwire was to win, then you appoint people who have been careless in their statements. Then it will undermine the ideologies of what Mr. Mundwire wants to come and achieve when he's given the mandate by the Zambian people. I think, in my honest view, what Mr. Binwe Mpundu do, instead of running away from responsibility, is to apologize to the Zambian people, because now he has given ammunition to his opponent to say, look, the people you want to bring back. So, as a leader who is in a position to take up bigger positions, if the NRPUP wins, he must take responsibility and apologize. Whether it was AI or it was not,
That's
but
true.
to take up responsibility to apologize to the Zambian people, because you are not only damaging, he's not only damaging his personal image, he's damaging the image of Mr. Brian Mundwire, because he's been a very key figure in these campaigns. So it is not too late. He can always go back, take responsibility, retract, or do something that is going to please the Zambian people. Because remember, we are coming, just here we spoke about how some cadres may misinterpret what you have said and begin to commit acts of violence. Not only that, if you recall, there was a video that came out of people masked with the pangas. So with that ammunition that now Mr. Binwe Mpundu has said, those videos can begin to pop up to say, look, this is what we're telling you.
With justification.
With justification to say he said this. So it is not too late to apologize to the Zambian people. Zambian people are not hard-hearted that they cannot forgive. They have forgiven so many politicians who were in this political party insulted. When there's a change of government, they jump into the other political party. They forgot that they were insulting this same administration which is there. So Zambian people can forgive, and they need to take responsibility.
All right, interesting. Thank you so much, dear viewers. We end the program this evening, and of course, allow me to appreciate Apike for coming through and your usual input to this particular program. Thank you so much, Apike.
Thank you, IP. I highly indebted to God, the giver of life, and He has given us this nation called Zambia. We cannot, and I insist, we cannot allow politics to divide us. We still need to maintain the peace that we have been known for. And as we go into election, this is the last analysis perhaps before the election. The next time you see us here, we'll be analyzing results and all of that. We leave you with this in mind. Please, let's keep the peace of the nation.